Your mind is the most powerful force you will ever possess. It is the engine behind every success, every failure, every choice, and every moment of courage or hesitation. The ability to win in life does not begin with circumstances, wealth, connections, or luck. It begins within you. It begins with the thoughts you allow to live inside your mind, the beliefs you carry, and the discipline you cultivate. The mind is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes, the sharper it becomes, and the more capable it is of overcoming challenges. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure whether to jump into the unknown. Their heart races. Their body trembles, but their mind can choose to focus on fear or focus on possibility. Those who win in life are not those who avoid fear. They are those who train their mind to act with courage and clarity, despite fear. They turn obstacles into lessons, setbacks into opportunities, and uncertainty into fuel for growth. Every chapter in this book is designed to awaken the power of your mind, to help you cultivate positive thinking, mental toughness, focus, and resilience. You will learn how to visualize success before it happens, how to embrace failure as a teacher, how to overcome fear and doubt, how to stay disciplined when challenges seem insurmountable, and how to live every day with purpose and clarity. This book is not a collection of abstract theories. It is a practical guide to transforming the way you think, the way you act, and the way you respond to the world around you. As you read these pages, imagine yourself growing stronger with every word. Imagine your confidence rising, your clarity expanding, your courage deepening. Winning is not a destination. It is a habit. It is a mindset. It is a way of approaching every situation in life with determination and unwavering belief in your ability to succeed. This book will show you how to train your mind to win, not sometimes, but in every situation, not just in dreams, but in reality. The journey ahead will challenge you to rethink old beliefs, to push past comfort zones, to embrace discomfort as a signal that growth is happening. You will discover the hidden strength that have always been inside you, waiting to be awakened. The mind that is trained to win creates a life of achievement, fulfillment, and unstoppable momentum. This book is your guide, your companion, and your mirror to reflect the power within you. Step forward with intention, read with openness, and commit to practicing what you learn. Your mind is ready to transform, your life is ready to expand, and your potential is limitless. The path to winning in every situation begins here, begins now, and it begins with you. Every victory in life begins long before the world sees it. It begins quietly inside the mind. The mind is the place where courage is born, where fear takes shape, where dreams are imagined, and where determination grows, strong enough to transform ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Many people spend their entire lives searching for opportunities, searching for luck, searching for favorable circumstances, yet they overlook the most powerful resource they already possess. That resource is the human mind. To awaken the power of the mind is to recognize that every action, every decision, and every achievement begins with a thought. When the mind is weak and filled with doubt, even the greatest opportunities may pass unnoticed. When the mind is strong and focused, even the smallest opportunity can become the beginning of greatness. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain trapped in hesitation often lies not in talent or resources, but in the training of the mind. Imagine a young student growing up in a small village where opportunities appear limited. Many people around him believe that success belongs only to those born in wealthy cities or powerful families. If the student accepts those beliefs, his mind becomes a cage, and the cage will limit his vision. Yet if the student begins to question those beliefs and chooses instead to train his mind to think differently, everything begins to change. He starts believing that knowledge can transform his life. He begins studying late at night, reading books, imagining a future beyond the boundaries that once surrounded him. Slowly, the awakened mind begins to guide his actions, and those actions lead him toward new opportunities. Awakening the mind is not an instant transformation. It is a process of awareness growth and discipline. Many people live on autopilot, allowing habits, fears, and past experiences to control their thinking. They wake up each morning, repeating the same patterns and reacting to life without conscious direction. An awakened mind is different. It becomes aware of its own thoughts and begins choosing them carefully. Instead of allowing negative beliefs to dominate the mind, begins replacing them with empowering ideas. Consider the story of a young athlete who dreamed of becoming a champion runner. In the beginning, he was not the fastest runner on his team. In fact, many people believed he would never reach the top level of competition. Some teammates laughed when he spoke about winning national races. Their doubts could easily have entered his mind and destroyed his confidence. But something powerful happened inside him. He decided to train his mind before training his body. Every morning before running, he would sit quietly and imagine himself crossing the finish line first. He imagined the sound of cheering crowds and the feeling of victory. At first, these images felt like distant dreams, but over time, they began to shape his belief. His mind started seeing victory as possible. Because his mind believed in success, his training became more focused, more disciplined, and more determined. Months later, the same runner who once struggled to keep up began winning local races. Eventually, he reached national competitions and shocked many people who once doubted him. The transformation did not begin on the track. It began in the mind. The mind has the remarkable ability to shape reality through belief, attention, and persistence. When the mind focuses on possibilities, the brain begins searching for solutions. When the mind focuses only on obstacles, the brain becomes trapped in fear and hesitation. This is why training the mind is essential for anyone who wants to win in every situation. Awakening the mind also means recognizing the influence of internal dialogue. Every person carries a voice inside their mind that speaks constantly. Sometimes that voice encourages courage and confidence. Sometimes it whispers doubt and fear. The words spoken by this inner voice shape emotional responses and influence decisions. Imagine a young woman preparing for an important interview. If her inner voice repeatedly tells her that she is not good enough or not intelligent enough, her confidence will shrink before she even enters the room. Her body language may reveal nervousness and uncertainty. Yet if she trains her mind to replace those thoughts with empowering beliefs, her posture becomes stronger and her voice becomes steady. She begins presenting herself with clarity and conviction. The situation remains the same, yet the result may be completely different because the mind has been trained to support success rather than sabotage it. Awakening the mind requires conscious effort. It begins by observing thoughts without judgment. Many thoughts that appear automatically are shaped by past experiences, family influences, and social environments. Some of these thoughts may be helpful, while others may limit growth. When a person becomes aware of these patterns, they gain the power to change them. For example, a young entrepreneur once dreamed of starting a small technology company. Every time he considered launching the business, his mind flooded with worries about failure. He imagined losing money, disappointing his family, and facing criticism from others. These fears almost convinced him to abandon his dream. One evening he decided to write down every fear he could think of. As he read the list, he realized that many fears were exaggerated assumptions rather than realistic predictions. Instead of surrendering to them, he began studying successful entrepreneurs and learning how they managed risk. Slowly his mind shifted from fear to strategy. Eventually, he launched his company with careful planning and determination. The awakened mind transformed fear into preparation. Another powerful element of awakening the mind is curiosity. Curiosity opens doors that rigid thinking keeps closed. When the mind becomes curious, it begins asking questions, seeking knowledge, and exploring possibilities. Great inventors, scientists, artists, and leaders throughout history shared one common trait. Their minds were deeply curious. They questioned the way things were and imagined how things could become better. Consider a teacher who encouraged curiosity in her classroom. Instead of forcing students to memorize information, she invites them to ask questions and explore ideas. One student becomes fascinated with machines and begins experimenting with small mechanical devices. That curiosity eventually leads him to study engineering and develop innovative solutions for real-world problems. The awakening of his mind began with a simple question. Training the mind also involves developing resilience. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and moments of disappointment. An untrained mind may interpret these moments as proof that success is impossible. An awakened mind interprets them differently. It sees setbacks as temporary events and valuable lessons. A powerful example comes from the story of a writer who dreamed of publishing a novel. She spent years crafting a story that meant everything to her. When she sent the manuscript to publishers, it was rejected again and again. Each rejection letter could have ended her dream. Many people would have accepted defeat and stopped writing. Instead, she used each rejection as motivation to improve her work. She studied storytelling techniques, rewrote chapters, and refined her characters. Eventually, one publisher recognized the power of her story and agreed to publish the book. The novel later became widely loved by readers around the world. Her success was not simply the result of talent. It was the result of a mind trained to persist despite disappointment. Awakening the mind also means recognizing the influence of environment. The people surrounding us, the information we consume, and the habits we practice shape our thinking. When the mind is constantly exposed to negativity, criticism, and pessimism, it becomes difficult to maintain confidence and optimism. On the other hand, when the mind is surrounded by encouragement, knowledge, and inspiration, it begins growing stronger. A young musician once struggled to believe in her abilities because she was constantly compared to more experienced performers. After joining a supportive community of artists, she discovered mentors who encouraged her creativity and discipline. Their belief in her talent helped reshape her own belief. The environment did not magically create her success, but it nurtured the awakening of her mind. Another important step in awakening the mind is learning the power of intention. Intention directs energy toward meaningful goals. When a person lives without intention, their actions become scattered and reactive. When intention is clear, every action begins serving a purpose. Imagine a university student who begins each day without clear goals. He attends classes, studies occasionally, and spends much of his time distracted by entertainment. His progress feels slow and unfocused. One day he decides to write a clear intention for his future. He wants to become a skilled engineer who designs solutions that improve everyday life. This intention changes the way he approaches learning. He studies with greater focus, asks deeper questions, and seeks opportunities for practical experience. His awakened mind now directs his energy toward meaningful achievement. Awakening the mind is not reserved for extraordinary individuals. It is available to anyone willing to examine their thoughts, cultivate discipline, and embrace growth. The mind becomes stronger through practice, just as muscles grow stronger through exercise. Each positive thought, each moment of courage, and each act of persistence strengthens the mental foundation for success. At the heart of this transformation lies belief. Belief is the invisible force that influences behavior and shapes outcomes. When a person truly believes they can learn, improve, and overcome obstacles, they begin taking actions that align with that belief. Those actions gradually produce results which reinforce the belief even further. A powerful illustration comes from a young teacher working in a struggling school district. Many students had already accepted the idea that they would never achieve academic success. Instead of accepting this narrative, the teacher introduced a new message. She told her students that intelligence grows through effort and learning. She encouraged them to see mistakes as part of the learning process, rather than evidence of failure. Slowly, the classroom culture began changing. Students who once avoided difficult challenges started attempting complex problems. Their performance improved, not because their intelligence suddenly changed, but because their beliefs about learning transformed. The awakening of the mind is the first and most important step toward winning in every situation. Without it, even the best strategies remain ineffective. With it, ordinary strategies can produce extraordinary results. When the mind becomes aware, disciplined, curious, and resilient, it becomes capable of guiding a person through uncertainty toward achievement. Chapter 2. The Power of Positive Thought. The human mind is constantly thinking. From the moment a person wakes up until the moment sleep arrives, thoughts move like an endless river. Some thoughts bring hope, strength, and motivation, while others bring fear, doubt, and hesitation. The direction of these thoughts shapes the direction of life. When a person learns to guide thoughts toward positivity, the mind becomes a powerful ally in every challenge and every opportunity. Positive thinking is often misunderstood. Some people imagine it as ignoring problems or pretending difficulties do not exist. True positive thinking is very different. It is the ability to face reality with confidence and determination, while believing that solutions are always possible. It is a mindset that searches for opportunity, even when circumstances appear difficult. A person who develops the habit of positive thinking trains the brain to look for possibilities instead of obstacles. When challenges arise, the mind begins asking, "How can this be solved?" rather than "Why is this happening to me?" This small shift in thinking creates enormous changes in action and results. Consider the story of a young shopkeeper who opened a small grocery store in a quiet neighborhood. During the first months, the shop received very few customers. Many people around him predicted that the store would close within a year. The shopkeeper had two choices. He could accept the negative predictions and slowly lose motivation, or he could train his mind to see the situation differently. Instead of focusing on the lack of customers, he began thinking about how he could improve the experience for the community. He cleaned the shop carefully, every day organized products in a welcoming way, and greeted every visitor with warmth and respect. He listened carefully to what customers needed and started bringing items that other shops did not offer. Over time, people began recommending his store to friends and family. The shop gradually grew into one of the busiest stores in the area. The difference between failure and success in this story was not luck or location. It was the power of positive thought guiding consistent action. Positive thinking influences not only actions, but also emotions. When the mind repeatedly focuses on negativity, the body reacts with tension, anxiety, and exhaustion. When the mind focuses on hope, progress, and gratitude, the body responds with energy and calm determination. This connection between thought and emotion explains why a positive mindset can strengthen resilience during difficult times. Imagine a university student preparing for a challenging examination. If the student constantly repeats thoughts such as "I will fail" or "I am not smart enough," the brain becomes overwhelmed with stress. Concentration becomes difficult and learning slows down. But if the student replaces those thoughts with encouraging beliefs, such as "I can learn this step by step," or "every hour of study makes me stronger," the mind becomes calmer and more focused. The same exam exists, but the mental environment becomes supportive instead of destructive. Positive thinking also creates stronger relationships with others. People naturally feel comfortable around individuals who radiate optimism and encouragement. A positive person uplifts conversations, inspires teamwork, and creates an atmosphere of possibility. In contrast, a constantly negative attitude can drain the energy of a group and discourage collaboration. Consider a manager leading a small team in a company facing financial pressure. One manager might repeatedly tell the team that the situation is hopeless and that failure is inevitable. Another manager might acknowledge the challenge while reminding the team that creativity and cooperation can overcome the obstacle. The second manager creates motivation and unity because positive thinking encourages action rather than surrender. The power of positive thought is especially visible during moments of uncertainty. When a person faces unexpected setbacks, the mind naturally searches for explanations. If the explanation becomes negative and absolute, the mind may believe that the situation will never improve. Positive thinking interrupts this pattern by introducing a new perspective. For example, a young artist once prepared a collection of paintings for an exhibition. After months of work, the exhibition received little attention and very few paintings were sold. The disappointment felt overwhelming. For several days, the artist questioned whether continuing the artistic journey made sense. Eventually, the artist decided to examine the experience with a positive mindset. Instead of seeing the event as failure, the artist treated it as feedback. Conversations with visitors revealed that people admired the creativity, but felt the style was unfamiliar. The artist began experimenting with new techniques while maintaining the original passion for painting. The next exhibition attracted a much larger audience, and several paintings were purchased. The shift from discouragement to positive reflection allowed growth to occur. Training the mind for positive thinking requires awareness and practice. The first step is recognizing negative thought patterns. Many people automatically expect the worst outcome without realizing it. Once these patterns become visible, they can be replaced with constructive alternatives. One practical method is the habit of daily affirmation. An affirmation is a statement that reinforces belief in ability, growth, and potential. When repeated regularly, affirmations gradually reshape the inner dialogue of the mind. A young athlete once struggled with confidence before competitions. Every race felt intimidating because past defeats echoed in the mind. A coach suggested that the athlete begin each morning with simple affirmations. Statements such as "I grow stronger every day," and "my effort leads to improvement" became part of the daily routine. At first the words felt unfamiliar, but after several weeks, the athlete noticed a change. The mind started expecting improvement rather than fearing failure. Performance improved not because the affirmations magically created skill, but because they strengthened belief and motivation. Positive thinking also grows through gratitude. Gratitude shifts attention away from what is missing toward what is already valuable. This shift creates emotional stability and appreciation for progress. Imagine a young doctor working long hours in a hospital. The schedule is exhausting and the responsibilities are heavy. Without gratitude, the doctor might focus only on fatigue and stress. By consciously appreciating the opportunity to help patients learn new skills and contribute to healing, the doctor transforms the emotional experience of work. Gratitude does not remove challenges, but it adds meaning and strength. Another important aspect of positive thinking is resilience during criticism. Every person who pursues growth will encounter opinions, doubts, and negative comments from others. Some criticism may be useful and constructive, while other criticism may simply reflect misunderstanding or insecurity. A positive mindset allows a person to evaluate feedback without losing confidence. A student who presents a new idea during a classroom discussion may receive mixed reactions. Some classmates may appreciate the creativity, while others may question the practicality. If the student interprets disagreement as personal rejection, the idea may disappear. If the student views the responses as an opportunity to refine the concept, the idea may evolve into something even stronger. Positive thinking does not eliminate obstacles, but it strengthens the ability to move through them. History offers countless examples of individuals who achieved remarkable success by maintaining optimistic determination. One such example is a scientist who spent years attempting to create a medical treatment that initially failed in many experiments. Instead of interpreting each failed attempt as defeat, the scientists described them as discoveries about what does not work. This mindset preserved curiosity and persistence. Eventually, the research led to a breakthrough that improved the health of thousands of people. The lesson is clear. The mind that believes solutions exist continues searching until they are found. Positive thinking also enhances creativity. When the mind feels safe, hopeful, and open, it explores ideas more freely. Fear and negativity restrict imagination because the brain focuses on protection rather than exploration. This is why creative environments often encourage encouragement, curiosity, and collaboration. Imagine a group of engineers designing a new piece of technology. If the team fears criticism, every unusual idea may be rejected immediately. If the team supports positive exploration, creative solutions emerge from discussion and experimentation. The same principle applies to individuals developing personal goals. Another powerful example can be seen in sports teams that face difficult seasons. Teams that constantly blame mistakes and criticize each other often collapse under pressure. Teams that maintain positive encouragement learn from mistakes while supporting teammates. This culture of positivity strengthens unity and performance. The practice of positive thinking also influences physical health. Studies and experiences consistently show that hopeful attitudes reduce stress and support overall well-being. When the mind maintains optimism, the body produces less tension and more balanced energy. A person recovering from injury or illness often relies on positive thinking to maintain motivation during rehabilitation. Progress may be slow and patience becomes essential. By focusing on small improvements each day, the individual maintains determination and eventually regains strength. Positive thinking becomes most powerful when it transforms into positive action. Thoughts alone cannot change circumstances without effort. However, thoughts determine whether effort appears possible or pointless. When the mind believes improvement can occur, the person begins taking steps toward that improvement. Consider a young farmer facing a season of poor harvest due to unexpected weather. Instead of surrendering to frustration, the farmer studies new agricultural techniques, experiments with different planting strategies, and learns from neighboring farmers who have faced similar conditions. The positive mindset creates movement toward solutions rather than paralysis. Training the mind to think positively requires consistency. Just as physical strength develops through regular exercise, mental strength develops through repeated practice. Every time a person replaces a negative thought with a constructive one, the mind becomes more skilled at choosing optimism. Gradually, the positive mindset becomes natural. Instead of forcing optimism, the brain automatically searches for lessons, possibilities, and growth. As you continue your journey of training the mind, remember that positive thinking is not about perfection. Everyone experiences moments of doubt, sadness, and frustration. The goal is not to eliminate these emotions, but to prevent them from dominating the entire mental landscape. A positive thinker acknowledges challenges, learns from them, and continues moving forward with courage. This mindset builds confidence, resilience, and determination. The power of positive thought transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary progress. It turns obstacles into teachers, setbacks into preparation, and dreams into achievable goals. When the mind learns to think positively, every situation becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of winning. Chapter 3: Visualization and Mental Rehearsal. The human mind has a remarkable ability that many people underestimate. It can imagine experiences so vividly that the brain begins to respond as if those experiences are real. This ability is known as visualization, and it has been used by successful individuals in sports, business, education, and many other fields. Visualization is the practice of creating clear mental images of desired outcomes and repeatedly experiencing those outcomes in the mind before they happen in reality. When a person visualizes success, the brain begins preparing for that success. Neural pathways related to action, confidence, and focus become stronger. The mind becomes familiar with the experience of achievement even before it occurs. Because of this familiarity, the person approaches challenges with greater calm and determination. Visualization is not a magical shortcut that replaces effort. Instead, it is a powerful method that aligns the mind with purposeful action. When the mind clearly sees the destination, the body naturally moves in that direction with greater confidence and clarity. Imagine a young student preparing to deliver a speech in front of a large audience. Public speaking often creates fear because the mind imagines embarrassment or failure. The student might picture people judging every mistake or losing focus during the presentation. These negative images increase anxiety and weaken confidence. Now imagine the same student practicing visualization every evening before the speech. The student closes the eyes and imagines walking confidently to the stage. The audience appears attentive and supportive. The words flow clearly, and the message is delivered with calm energy. The student imagines the applause at the end and a feeling of satisfaction after completing the speech successfully. After repeating this mental rehearsal, many times the brain begins to accept the image as familiar and achievable. When the real moment arrives, the student feels more prepared because the mind has already experienced the situation. Athletes around the world often rely on visualization to improve performance. A runner preparing for an important race may mentally run the entire course before the competition begins. The runner imagines the starting line, the rhythm of breathing, the strength of each stride, and the final burst of speed near the finish line. By rehearsing these moments, mentally the athlete prepares the body to respond effectively when the race begins. One inspiring example comes from a young swimmer who dreamed of competing in national championships. Early in the career, the swimmer struggled with confidence during major competitions. Even though practice sessions were strong, the pressure of large events caused hesitation and slower performance. A coach introduced the practice of mental rehearsal. Every night the swimmer visualized, standing beside the pool, hearing the starting signal, diving into the water, and moving through each stroke with perfect rhythm. The swimmer imagined the water flowing smoothly, and the body moving powerfully toward the wall. This mental practice continued for several weeks. During the next competition, the swimmer felt an unusual sense of calm. The race felt familiar because the mind had already rehearsed it many times. Performance improved dramatically, and the swimmer achieved one of the best times of the season. The power of visualization works because the brain responds to vivid mental imagery in ways similar to physical experience. When a person imagines performing an action, the brain activates many of the same neural connections used during real movement. This strengthens coordination, confidence, and readiness. Visualization can be used not only for physical performance, but also for personal growth and life goals. A person who wants to become a successful entrepreneur may begin visualizing the steps required to build a thriving business. The individual imagines meeting clients, solving problems, leading a team, and celebrating milestones. These images create motivation and focus. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the future, the mind begins recognizing the path forward. Opportunities that once seemed invisible become clearer because the brain starts paying attention to information related to the visualized goal. Consider the story of a young engineer who dreamed of designing innovative technology products. During university studies, the path toward this dream felt uncertain. There were many subjects to master and many competitors pursuing similar goals. The engineer decided to begin each day with a few minutes of visualization. In these quiet moments, the mind imagined working in a creative laboratory, collaborating with talented colleagues, and developing technology that improved everyday life. The engineer imagined presenting ideas confidently and seeing people benefit from those inventions. This practice created a powerful sense of direction. Instead of studying randomly, the engineer focused on subjects that supported the vision. Opportunities such as internships, research projects, and networking events suddenly became more meaningful. Over time, the imagined future slowly transformed into reality as skills, knowledge, and experience aligned with the vision. Visualization also strengthens emotional resilience. When people face challenges, their minds often imagine the worst possible outcomes. These negative images increase fear and discourage effort. Visualization replaces these destructive patterns with images of problem-solving progress and success. For example, a young woman preparing to start a new job may worry about adapting to unfamiliar responsibilities. The mind may imagine making mistakes or disappointing supervisors. By practicing visualization, she can replace these fears with empowering images. She imagines learning quickly, building positive relationships with colleagues, and handling tasks with confidence. This mental rehearsal prepares the brain to respond with calm curiosity instead of anxiety. When challenges appear, the mind recognizes them as part of the journey rather than signs of failure. The effectiveness of visualization increases when it includes emotional engagement. Simply imagining a goal without feeling enthusiasm or belief may produce limited impact. When visualization includes strong positive emotion, the brain records the experience more deeply. Imagine a musician preparing for an important performance. While visualizing the event, the musician not only sees the stage, but also feels the excitement of sharing music with the audience. The sound of applause and the joy of expression become part of the mental image. This emotional connection strengthens motivation during practice sessions and builds confidence before the performance. Another example can be seen in education. A student who dreams of becoming a doctor may visualize wearing a medical coat, helping patients and solving complex medical problems. These images remind the student why long hours of study are worthwhile. The vision of a meaningful future fuels persistence through difficult subjects and demanding schedules. Visualization also teaches the mind to focus on solutions rather than problems. When a person mentally rehearses overcoming obstacles, the brain becomes more creative in real situations. The mind learns to ask questions such as what step comes next and how can this challenge be managed effectively. Consider a mountaineer preparing to climb a challenging mountain. Before the journey begins, the climber studies maps, weather conditions, and possible obstacles. During visualization, the climber imagines facing steep sections, adjusting equipment, and maintaining balance during difficult moments. This mental preparation increases readiness and reduces panic if similar challenges occur during the real climb. The practice of visualization can become part of a daily routine. Many successful individuals dedicate a few quiet minutes each morning or evening to imagine their goals clearly. This moment of mental focus helps align thoughts, actions, and intentions. A simple method for visualization involves several steps. First, find a quiet place where distractions are minimal. Close the eyes and take slow breaths to relax the body. Then begin creating a detailed mental image of the desired goal or upcoming challenge. Imagine the environment, the actions being taken, and the successful outcome. Include emotions such as confidence, gratitude, and excitement. Repeating this exercise regularly strengthens the connection between imagination and action. Over time, the mind becomes more confident in its ability to create the future it envisions. Visualization can also be used for improving habits and daily discipline. For instance, a person trying to develop a consistent exercise routine may visualize waking up early, preparing for the workout, and completing the session with energy. The mind begins accepting this routine as part of normal life, which makes real action easier. Another example involves individuals learning new skills. A person studying a foreign language might visualize speaking fluently with native speakers, traveling to new countries, and understanding conversations with ease. These images encourage continued practice, even when learning feels difficult. Visualization does not guarantee immediate success, but it significantly increases the probability of success because it prepares the mind to recognize opportunities and persist through obstacles. The mind becomes a guide that leads actions toward meaningful results. It is also important to combine visualization with realistic planning. Imagining success without developing skills or taking practical steps will not produce lasting achievement. Visualization works best when it inspires consistent effort and disciplined learning. A young chef who dreams of opening a restaurant may visualize welcoming guests, serving beautiful dishes, and hearing compliments from satisfied customers. Inspired by this vision, the chef studies culinary techniques, works long hours in professional kitchens, and learns about business management. The mental image provides motivation, while practical action turns the vision into reality. Throughout history, many influential leaders, innovators, and artists have used visualization to guide their journeys. They imagined futures that did not yet exist, and then worked patiently to bring those visions to life. When the mind practices visualizing positive outcomes, it begins believing in possibilities beyond current circumstances. Confidence grows, determination strengthens, and challenges appear less intimidating. Visualization and mental rehearsal teach the mind that success is not an accident. It is a process that begins with imagination, continues through preparation, and becomes reality through persistent action. As you continue learning how to train your mind, remember that every great achievement once existed only as a vision in someone's mind. The ability to see success before it happens is one of the most powerful tools for winning in every situation. Chapter 4. Discipline and Mental Toughness. Success in any area of life rarely appears by accident. Behind every achievement, there is a foundation built with discipline and mental toughness. These qualities allow a person to continue moving forward, even when excitement fades and obstacles appear. While motivation can inspire the beginning of a journey, discipline is what sustains progress throughout the entire path. Discipline is the ability to do what must be done, even when the mind prefers comfort or distraction. It is the quiet decision to act according to purpose rather than emotion. Mental toughness is closely connected to discipline. It is the strength that allows a person to remain focused and determined when facing pressure, difficulty, or disappointment. Many people start with strong motivation when pursuing a goal. The excitement of a new project, a new career, or a new personal challenge can create a powerful surge of energy. However, motivation often rises and falls, depending on mood, environment, and temporary circumstances. When motivation decreases, those who rely only on inspiration may stop progressing. Discipline ensures that action continues, even when enthusiasm temporarily fades. Imagine a young student who dreams of becoming a skilled surgeon. The path toward this dream requires years of education, practice, and dedication. During the first weeks of study, the student feels inspired and studies enthusiastically every evening. But as months pass, the workload becomes heavier and fatigue begins to appear. At this moment, discipline becomes essential. Instead of waiting for motivation to return, the student creates a structured routine. Study sessions happen at the same time every day. Difficult subjects are approached step by step with patience. Some days feel challenging, yet the routine continues because discipline transforms effort into habit. Over time, this consistent effort produces deep knowledge and strong skills. When the student finally becomes a surgeon, the achievement reflects years of disciplined action rather than occasional bursts of motivation. Mental toughness appears most clearly during moments of adversity. Life often presents unexpected difficulties that test determination. People who develop mental toughness do not avoid these moments. Instead, they train their minds to remain steady and focused despite discomfort. Consider the story of a young marathon runner preparing for an important race. Training requires waking up before sunrise, running long distances, and maintaining strict physical conditioning. Some mornings the weather is cold and the body feels tired. The comfortable choice would be to remain in bed and skip training. Yet the runner understands that champions are created through consistent discipline. The alarm clock rings and the runner rises despite fatigue. Each training session becomes a small victory over hesitation. These victories accumulate and build extraordinary endurance. Months later, when the marathon race begins, the runner carries not only physical strength, but also the confidence that comes from overcoming countless moments of resistance. Mental toughness built during training becomes the foundation for success during competition. Discipline also plays an important role in managing distractions. Modern life offers endless sources of entertainment, information, and interruption. Without discipline, it becomes easy to spend valuable hours on activities that do not contribute to personal goals. A young entrepreneur once struggled with productivity while building a small online business. Every day began with good intentions, but social media notifications and casual conversations frequently interrupted important work. Progress felt slow and frustrating. The entrepreneur decided to introduce disciplined habits. Specific hours were reserved for focused work without digital distractions. A list of daily priorities was written each morning and completed step by step. At first, maintaining this structure required conscious effort. Eventually, the routine became natural and productivity increased dramatically. Within a year, the small business expanded significantly because consistent discipline transformed scattered effort into concentrated progress. Mental toughness also involves emotional control. During challenging situations, emotions such as frustration, anger, or fear may arise quickly. A strong mind recognizes these emotions without allowing them to control decisions. For example, a professional basketball player may miss several shots during an important game. Frustration could easily lead to careless mistakes or loss of confidence. A mentally tough player acknowledges the disappointment, but immediately refocuses on the next play. The mind remains calm and attentive instead of dwelling on past errors. This ability to recover quickly from setbacks allows high performers to maintain effectiveness under pressure. Another inspiring example of discipline and mental toughness can be found in the journey of a musician learning a complex instrument. Mastering musical skill requires thousands of hours of practice. Early stages often include awkward movements, incorrect notes, and slow progress. A musician who lacks discipline may feel discouraged and stop practicing when improvement seems slow. A disciplined musician understands that every practice session strengthens coordination and understanding. Even when progress appears invisible, persistence gradually transforms effort into mastery. Years later, audiences may admire the musician's beautiful performance without realizing the countless hours of disciplined practice behind that moment. Discipline is also essential for building strong habits. Habits are actions repeated so frequently that they become automatic parts of daily life. Positive habits such as reading, exercising, learning new skills, and maintaining organization support long-term success. Imagine a young teacher who decides to improve knowledge every day by reading for 30 minutes. At first, the activity requires conscious planning, but after several weeks, it becomes a natural part of the evening routine. Over months and years, this habit accumulates an impressive amount of knowledge that benefits both the teacher and the students. Mental toughness helps maintain these habits when circumstances become difficult. During busy periods or stressful days, the temptation to abandon positive routines may appear strong. A resilient mind remembers the long-term vision and continues practicing the habits that support growth. The concept of delayed gratification is another aspect of discipline. Delayed gratification means choosing a larger future reward instead of a smaller immediate pleasure. This ability allows people to invest time and effort in activities that create meaningful long-term benefits. A simple example can be seen in financial discipline. A young professional who saves a portion of income regularly may initially sacrifice certain luxuries. Over time, these savings create financial security and opportunities for investment. The decision to delay immediate gratification leads to greater freedom in the future. Athletes, artists, scientists, and entrepreneurs frequently practice delayed gratification by dedicating years to training, learning, and experimentation before receiving recognition or reward. Discipline also strengthens confidence. Each time a person follows through on a commitment, the mind begins trusting its own reliability. When promises made to oneself are consistently honored, self-respect grows. Consider a student who decides to study for 2 hours each evening. After several weeks of maintaining this commitment, the student develops confidence and personal discipline. When new challenges arise, the mind remembers previous success and believes in the ability to remain consistent again. Mental toughness helps individuals continue even when progress is slow or obstacles appear overwhelming. One powerful example is the story of a mountain climber attempting to reach a high peak. The journey involves harsh weather, steep terrain, and physical exhaustion. During the climb, there may be moments when turning back seems easier than continuing upward. A climber with mental toughness reminds the mind of the preparation and purpose behind the journey. Step by step, the ascent continues until the summit is reached. The summit represents more than a physical location. It symbolizes the triumph of discipline and resilience over doubt and difficulty. Developing discipline and mental toughness requires intentional practice. Simple strategies can help strengthen these qualities in everyday life. Setting clear goals provides direction for disciplined action. When goals are specific, the mind understands what actions must be taken each day. Creating routines reduces the need for constant decision-making and helps maintain consistency. Facing small challenges voluntarily also builds resilience. Activities such as waking early, completing demanding tasks, and practicing difficult skills teach the mind that discomfort is temporary and manageable. Another helpful strategy involves reflecting on progress regularly. When people observe the results of disciplined effort, motivation naturally increases. Recognizing improvement reinforces the belief that persistence leads to meaningful outcomes. Discipline should not be confused with harsh self-criticism. True discipline comes from respect for personal potential rather than punishment. It is the act of supporting one's future by making wise choices in the present. A balanced life includes moments of rest, celebration, and enjoyment alongside disciplined work. Recovery allows the mind and body to remain strong for long-term effort. Throughout history, individuals who achieved remarkable success shared a common pattern of disciplined dedication. Their journeys included failures, obstacles, and periods of doubt. Yet their commitment to consistent action allowed them to continue progressing when others stopped. Discipline and mental toughness transform dreams into reality. Visualization and positive thinking create the vision, but discipline turns that vision into daily effort. Each small act of persistence builds strength until extraordinary achievements become possible. As you continue training your mind, remember that discipline is not a limitation. It is a pathway to freedom. It frees you from the control of temporary emotions, distractions, and fear. Mental toughness gives you the courage to continue moving forward, regardless of circumstances. The mind that practices discipline becomes steady, focused, and powerful. With this strength, you can face challenges with confidence, knowing that persistence and determination will guide you toward victory. Chapter 5. Overcoming Fear. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions in the human mind. It can protect life by warning about danger, yet it can also prevent growth when it becomes too strong. Many dreams remain unrealized, not because people lack ability, but because fear convinces them that success is impossible. Learning to overcome fear is therefore one of the most important steps in training the mind to win in every situation. Fear often appears when a person faces something new, uncertain, or challenging. The mind imagines possible negative outcomes and tries to protect itself from disappointment or embarrassment. While this reaction is natural, it becomes limiting when it stops a person from taking meaningful action. Imagine a young man who has always wanted to start a small business. He has ideas, energy, and passion, but every time he considers beginning the project, fear appears. The mind asks questions such as, what if the business fails? Or what if people criticize the idea? Or what if money is lost? These thoughts create hesitation and delay. Years may pass while the dream remains only an idea. Yet the moment the person decides to face fear directly, everything begins to change. Instead of asking, what if I fail? The mind begins asking, what if I succeed? Or what if I learn valuable lessons along the way? This shift in thinking reduces the power of fear and allows action to begin. Fear is often strongest when the mind imagines problems without exploring solutions. When a person examines fear closely, it often becomes smaller and more manageable. Understanding fear allows the mind to transform it into motivation rather than paralysis. Consider the story of a young teacher who felt terrified of speaking in front of large groups. Even though teaching required communication, the thought of addressing an audience during school events caused intense anxiety. The teacher would avoid opportunities that involved public speaking. One day, the teacher decided that fear would no longer control future possibilities. Instead of avoiding the challenge, the teacher began preparing gradually. Small presentations were practiced in front of close friends. Each practice session helped reduce nervousness and build familiarity. Eventually, the teacher spoke during a school gathering. The voice trembled slightly at the beginning, but confidence grew with every sentence. When the presentation ended, the audience responded warmly. The teacher realized that fear had exaggerated the difficulty of the situation. From that moment, speaking in public became easier because courage had replaced avoidance. Fear often grows larger in imagination than in reality. When people avoid situations that cause fear, the mind never receives evidence that the situation can be managed successfully. Facing fear gradually allows the mind to collect experiences of courage and competence. Another example can be seen in sports. A young gymnast preparing for a difficult routine may feel fear before performing a new movement. The risk of falling creates hesitation. A supportive coach encourages the gymnast to practice step by step, beginning with simple variations of the movement. Each successful attempt increases confidence. The gymnast learns that fear can be reduced through preparation and repetition. Eventually, the once frightening movement becomes a natural part of the routine. Preparation is one of the most effective methods for overcoming fear. When the mind feels unprepared, uncertainty increases anxiety. When preparation is thorough, confidence naturally grows. Imagine a university student preparing for an important examination. If the student avoids studying, fear will grow stronger as the exam approaches. However, when the student studies regularly, reviews material carefully, and practices solving problems, the mind becomes calmer. Preparation transforms fear into focused energy. Fear can also be influenced by the opinions of others. People sometimes worry about being judged, criticized, or rejected. This fear of judgment may prevent individuals from expressing ideas, pursuing creative work, or taking leadership roles. A young artist once hesitated to share paintings with the public. The artist worried that people might dislike the style or question the skill involved. For months, the paintings remained hidden in a private studio. One day, the artist decided that personal growth required courage. A small exhibition was organized in a local community center. Some visitors admired the artwork, while others offered suggestions for improvement. The experience proved that criticism was not as destructive as imagined. In fact, constructive feedback helped the artist grow. Fear of judgment decreased because the artist learned that sharing creativity brings both appreciation and valuable learning. Another powerful strategy for overcoming fear is changing the way the mind interprets physical sensations. When fear appears, the body often responds with increased heartbeat, faster breathing, and heightened alertness. These sensations are sometimes interpreted as signs of danger or weakness. However, the same sensations can also represent excitement, readiness, and heightened focus. By interpreting these signals as preparation for action rather than threat, the mind transforms anxiety into energy. Athletes frequently experience this shift before competitions. A runner standing at the starting line may feel a racing heartbeat and nervous anticipation. Instead of interpreting these sensations as fear, the runner views them as signs that the body is preparing for performance. This mental interpretation converts nervous energy into powerful momentum during the race. Fear can also serve as a signal that growth is about to occur. Many of the most meaningful experiences in life exist just beyond the boundaries of comfort. Starting a new career, traveling to unfamiliar places, learning complex skills, or forming new relationships often involve uncertainty. A person who always remains within familiar routines may avoid fear, but also misses opportunities for development. Those who accept fear as part of growth gradually expand their abilities and experiences. Consider the example of a young woman who dreamed of studying in another country. The idea of leaving family and adapting to a new culture created intense fear. Questions about language differences, academic challenges, and social adjustment filled the mind. Despite these concerns, the student chose courage over comfort. After arriving in the new country, the first weeks felt challenging. Yet with each passing day, confidence increased. New friendships formed, academic skills improved, and cultural experiences enriched personal perspective. Looking back, the student realized that the fear before departure had been far greater than the actual challenges faced abroad. The experience strengthened independence and opened doors to future opportunities. Another inspiring example comes from a firefighter who must regularly face dangerous situations. Fear naturally arises when entering a burning building or rescuing individuals during emergencies. However, firefighters train extensively to respond with calm and focus. Through repeated practice drills and teamwork, they learn to manage fear effectively. Training provides knowledge of procedures, while trust among team members creates confidence. Fear does not disappear completely, but it becomes controlled and directed toward purposeful action. Overcoming fear does not mean eliminating it entirely. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite fear. Each time a person chooses courage, the mind becomes stronger and more resilient. One useful technique involves breaking large fears into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of confronting a challenge all at once, the mind approaches it gradually. For example, a person afraid of heights might begin by standing on a low balcony while focusing on steady breathing. Later, the person might visit a slightly taller building and observe the surroundings calmly. Step by step, the fear decreases because the mind becomes familiar with the situation. This gradual approach allows courage to grow naturally without overwhelming the senses. Support from others can also help individuals overcome fear. Encouragement from friends, mentors, teachers, or colleagues provides reassurance during challenging moments. Hearing someone say, "I believe in you," can strengthen confidence significantly. A young scientist presenting research at an international conference once felt intense anxiety before speaking. A mentor reminded the scientist that years of study and preparation had led to that moment. This supportive message helped calm the mind and focus attention on sharing knowledge rather than worrying about judgment. Fear also diminishes when people focus on purpose rather than personal discomfort. When an action serves a meaningful goal, the mind becomes willing to tolerate temporary uncertainty. A doctor working in emergency medicine may experience fear during critical situations, but the commitment to saving lives provides powerful motivation. The focus on helping others overrides hesitation and inspires decisive action. Similarly, a social activist speaking about important issues may feel nervous before addressing large audiences. Yet the desire to create positive change encourages courage and determination. The journey of overcoming fear transforms not only individual experiences, but also the entire perception of life. When people learn that fear can be faced and managed, they begin approaching new opportunities with curiosity instead of avoidance. Each challenge becomes a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Confidence expands because the mind remembers previous victories over fear. Over time, the person who once hesitated before every new step becomes someone who welcomes challenges as opportunities for development. This transformation does not occur overnight, but through repeated acts of courage and persistence. As you continue training your mind, remember that fear is a natural companion on the path to achievement. Instead of allowing fear to control decisions, learn to observe it, understand it, and move forward anyway. The more you face fear, the smaller it becomes. The more courage you practice, the stronger your mind grows. Chapter 6. Embracing Failure. Many people believe that success and failure are opposites. They imagine that successful individuals never fail, while unsuccessful individuals experience constant defeat. In reality, the path to success is filled with moments of failure, learning, and growth. Failure is not the end of progress, but an essential part of the journey toward achievement. The mind that learns to embrace failure gains the strength and wisdom needed to win in every situation. Failure often carries a strong emotional weight. When a person works hard toward a goal and the outcome does not match expectations, disappointment can feel overwhelming. The mind may interpret failure as a sign of weakness or inability. However, this interpretation is not accurate. Failure is simply information that shows which methods did not work and which improvements are necessary. Imagine a young inventor who dreams of creating a new type of energy-efficient machine. The inventor spends months building the first prototype. When the machine is tested, it does not function correctly. The disappointment feels heavy because so much effort was invested in the project. At this moment, the inventor has two choices. One choice is to accept the failure as proof that the idea is impossible. The other choice is to examine the failure carefully and learn from it. A curious and determined mind chooses the second path. The inventor studies the prototype, identifies weaknesses in the design, and begins making adjustments. The second version works better, but still contains problems. Another round of learning and improvement follows. Eventually, after many attempts, the machine begins working successfully. Each failure along the way was not wasted effort. Instead, each attempt provided valuable information that guided the inventor toward a better solution. History offers countless examples of individuals who achieved remarkable success after experiencing repeated failures. Their stories demonstrate that persistence and learning are far more important than perfection. Consider the journey of a young writer who wanted to publish a novel. The writer spent years crafting a story and finally submitted the manuscript to several publishing companies. One by one, the responses arrived, and most of them contained rejection. At first, the writer felt discouraged. Doubt appeared in the mind, and the dream of becoming an author seemed distant. Instead of abandoning the goal, the writer decided to treat each rejection as feedback rather than defeat. The manuscript was reviewed carefully and improvements were made. Characters became deeper and the story structure became stronger. The revised manuscript was submitted again. After many attempts, one publisher recognized the potential of the story and offered a contract. The novel later reached thousands of readers who appreciated the creativity and emotion within the pages. If the writer had stopped after the first rejection, the story would never have reached the world. Failure often teaches lessons that success cannot provide. When everything works perfectly, there may be little motivation to examine details or search for better methods. Failure encourages reflection, analysis, and adaptation. A young athlete preparing for a national competition once experienced a difficult defeat during an early event. The loss felt painful because months of training had been dedicated to that moment. Instead of blaming circumstances or giving up, the athlete reviewed the performance carefully. Video recordings of the race were studied, and weaknesses in technique were identified. Training sessions were redesigned to strengthen those areas. Over time, the athlete returned to competition with improved skills and greater determination. During the next championship, the athlete performed far better and achieved a medal. The earlier defeat became a turning point that inspired deeper learning and preparation. One reason people fear failure is the belief that others will judge them harshly. Society sometimes celebrates success while ignoring the effort and the stakes behind it. This perception creates pressure to appear perfect. However, most experienced individuals understand that mistakes are natural steps in learning. Teachers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and artists often encourage experimentation because progress rarely happens without trial and error. Imagine a young scientist working in a laboratory while studying a complex medical problem. Many experiments produce unexpected results that do not match the original hypothesis. Each unsuccessful experiment still contributes valuable information that helps refine future research. Over time, these lessons accumulate and eventually lead to discoveries that improve human health. If researchers avoided experiments due to fear of failure, scientific progress would slow dramatically. Another important aspect of embracing failure is resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly after setbacks and continue moving forward with renewed determination. A small business owner once invested significant resources into launching a new product. Despite careful planning, the product did not attract enough customers, and the project resulted in financial loss. The experience created stress and disappointment. Instead of abandoning entrepreneurship entirely, the business owner examined the situation with honesty. Market research revealed that customer needs had been misunderstood. Valuable lessons were learned about communication, marketing, and product design. Using this knowledge, the business owner developed a different product that better served customer needs. This time, the launch succeeded, and the company grew steadily. The earlier failure became an educational experience that guided future success. Failure also builds humility, which is an important quality for continuous improvement. When individuals recognize that mistakes are possible, they remain open to learning and collaboration. A young chef working in a professional kitchen once attempted to create a new recipe for a restaurant menu. The first attempt did not produce the desired flavor balance. Instead of becoming defensive, the chef asked colleagues for honest feedback. Through discussion and experimentation, the recipe was refined and eventually became one of the restaurant's most popular dishes. The willingness to accept initial failure allowed creativity to flourish. Another inspiring example can be found in the world of aviation. Early pioneers who dreamed of human flight faced repeated failures while testing their designs. Many early flying machines crashed or failed to lift off the ground. Instead of abandoning the dream, engineers and inventors studied every failure carefully. They adjusted wing shapes, improved materials, and developed better control systems. Eventually, these efforts led to successful aircraft that changed transportation around the world. The courage to continue after failure helped transform an impossible dream into a global reality. Embracing failure also strengthens emotional intelligence. When people learn to accept setbacks with patience, they become more compassionate toward themselves and others. They understand that growth requires time, practice, and persistence. A teacher guiding students through challenging subjects often reminds them that mistakes are part of learning. Students who feel safe making mistakes are more willing to ask questions, explore ideas, and attempt difficult tasks. This supportive environment encourages intellectual growth because students focus on progress rather than fear of embarrassment. Failure can also reveal hidden strengths. During challenging moments, people often discover resilience, creativity, and determination that were previously unnoticed. For example, a young woman pursuing a career in architecture once faced rejection from several prestigious firms after completing her education. The situation felt discouraging, but it encouraged her to start a small independent design studio. Working independently required learning new skills in communication, project management, and creative problem solving. Over time, the studio gained recognition for innovative designs and attracted important clients. What initially appeared as failure became the catalyst for a unique and successful career path. Learning to embrace failure involves changing the way the mind interprets setbacks. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" a growth-oriented mind asks, "What can I learn from this experience?" This shift transforms failure from a painful ending into a valuable teacher. Each mistake becomes a step toward greater understanding. Another helpful strategy involves focusing on effort rather than immediate outcomes. When people measure success only by final results, they may feel discouraged during early stages of learning. Recognizing the value of effort encourages persistence. A student learning a new language may struggle with pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary at the beginning. Instead of viewing mistakes as failure, the student celebrates each improvement and continues practicing regularly. Eventually, communication becomes more fluent because consistent effort accumulates into skill. It is also important to maintain perspective when facing failure. One disappointing moment does not define an entire life journey. Every person who has achieved meaningful success has experienced setbacks along the way. What matters most is the decision to continue learning and moving forward. Support from mentors, friends, and family can make this process easier. Encouraging voices remind individuals that failure is temporary and growth is possible. Sharing experiences with others also reveals that many successful people have faced similar challenges. A young entrepreneur once attended a conference where experienced business leaders spoke openly about their early failures. Hearing these stories provided reassurance that mistakes are not unusual, but part of the process of innovation. This realization strengthened the entrepreneur's confidence and motivation to continue building a company. Embracing failure does not mean seeking failure intentionally. The goal is always to strive for excellence and prepare carefully. However, when outcomes do not match expectations, the response should be curiosity rather than despair. The mind that learns from failure becomes more adaptable and resourceful. Over time, these qualities create a strong foundation for long-term success. Every setback carries within it the seed of improvement. Each challenge teaches new strategies and strengthens character. The journey toward victory becomes richer because lessons learned from failure guide future decisions. As you train your mind, remember that failure is not the opposite of winning. It is one of the most important steps toward winning. Those who embrace failure gain experience, resilience, and wisdom that others may never develop. Chapter 7. Focus and Mental Clarity. The human mind possesses incredible potential, yet this potential can easily become scattered when attention moves in too many directions. In a world filled with constant information, noise, and distraction, the ability to focus has become one of the most valuable mental skills. Focus and mental clarity allow a person to direct energy toward meaningful goals and transform effort into real progress. When the mind lacks focus, it jumps from one thought to another without completing tasks. Plans remain unfinished, ideas remain unexplored, and opportunities pass by unnoticed. However, when the mind becomes clear and focused, it works like a powerful beam of light, directing energy precisely where it is needed. Focus begins with understanding priorities. Every person has limited time and energy each day. Without clear priorities, the mind attempts to handle everything at once and becomes overwhelmed. Mental clarity appears when a person identifies what truly matters and gives full attention to those tasks. Imagine a young university student who wants to succeed academically while also maintaining personal interests. At the beginning, the student tries to do many activities simultaneously: studying, browsing social media, attending events, and watching entertainment late into the night. The result is exhaustion and poor concentration during important study sessions. One day, the student decides to reorganize daily habits. Study hours are clearly scheduled, and distractions are removed during that time. Entertainment and relaxation still exist, but they occur after academic responsibilities are completed. Within weeks, the student notices a remarkable improvement in understanding and memory, because focused attention replaces scattered effort. This simple change demonstrates how mental clarity can transform performance. Focus also strengthens creativity and problem-solving. When the mind concentrates deeply on a single challenge, it begins exploring ideas more thoroughly. Connections between concepts become clearer and solutions emerge more naturally. Consider the example of an engineer working on a complex design project. If the engineer constantly switches attention between emails, messages, and unrelated tasks, the project may progress slowly. Each interruption forces the brain to restart the thinking process. However, when the engineer dedicates uninterrupted time to the design, the mind enters a state of deep concentration. During this state, ideas flow more smoothly, and technical challenges become easier to solve. The project advances efficiently because the mind remains engaged with one objective. Mental clarity is closely connected to simplicity. Many people create unnecessary stress by overcomplicating their schedules and responsibilities. A clear mind recognizes which tasks truly contribute to long-term goals and which tasks can be reduced or eliminated. A small business owner once struggled to manage daily operations because attention was divided among too many projects. Marketing plans, product development, administrative tasks, and customer communication all competed for attention at the same time. The business owner decided to simplify priorities by focusing first on the most important activities that directly supported growth. Certain tasks were delegated to trusted team members, while others were postponed. This decision created space for focused leadership and better decision-making. Within months, the business began operating more smoothly because mental clarity replaced confusion. Another important aspect of focus is the ability to remain present in the current moment. When the mind constantly worries about past mistakes or future uncertainties, concentration becomes weaker. Training the mind to stay present allows full attention to be directed toward the task at hand. A professional chef working in a busy restaurant provides a powerful example of present moment focus. During dinner service, the kitchen environment becomes intense, with many orders arriving simultaneously. The chef cannot afford to worry about mistakes from earlier in the day or concerns about tomorrow's schedule. Instead, the chef focuses completely on preparing each dish with precision and care. Ingredients are measured carefully, flavors are balanced, and presentation remains consistent. This level of attention ensures that every guest receives a high-quality meal despite the fast-paced environment. The ability to remain mentally present allows professionals in many fields to perform effectively under pressure. Focus can also be strengthened through habits that support mental clarity. One such habit is organizing the physical environment. A cluttered workspace often leads to a cluttered mind because visual distractions compete for attention. Imagine a writer attempting to create an important article while sitting at a desk filled with unrelated papers, devices, and unfinished tasks. Each item on the desk reminds the mind of something else that requires attention. Concentration becomes difficult. When the workspace is organized with only the necessary materials visible, the mind experiences fewer interruptions. The writer can focus entirely on crafting ideas and sentences. Another helpful habit involves managing digital distractions. Modern technology offers valuable tools for communication and learning, yet constant notifications can fragment attention. Each message or alert encourages the mind to shift away from important work. A young programmer once realized that productivity decreased every time the phone displayed a notification. Instead of continuing this pattern, the programmer began turning off non-essential alerts during work hours. Specific periods were reserved for checking messages, while the rest of the day remained dedicated to focused programming. This adjustment dramatically increased efficiency because uninterrupted attention allowed deeper engagement with complex code. Mental clarity also benefits from regular reflection. Reflection involves stepping back from daily activity to examine progress goals and priorities. During reflection, the mind evaluates what is working well and what needs improvement. A teacher who reflects weekly on classroom experiences may notice patterns in student learning. Certain teaching methods may inspire greater engagement, while others may create confusion. By analyzing these observations, the teacher can adjust strategies and improve future lessons. Reflection acts like a compass that keeps the mind aligned with purpose. Another powerful technique for strengthening focus is mindfulness. Mindfulness involves paying attention to thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. Through simple practices such as slow breathing or quiet observation, the mind learns to remain calm and centered. A young professional working in a demanding office environment once experienced constant mental pressure. Deadlines, meetings, and responsibilities created continuous stress that interfered with concentration. After learning mindfulness techniques, the professional began spending a few minutes each morning practicing calm breathing and awareness. This small routine helped clear mental tension and improved focus throughout the workday. Over time, the ability to remain calm and attentive allowed the professional to manage responsibilities more effectively. Focus also plays a crucial role in achieving long-term goals. Major accomplishments rarely occur through sudden bursts of effort. They require consistent attention over extended periods. A musician practicing a challenging instrument provides an excellent example. Mastery develops through daily focused practice sessions. Each session may appear small, but together they build extraordinary skill. When the musician practices with complete attention, every note becomes clearer and every movement more precise. If practice becomes distracted or rushed, improvement slows significantly. The same principle applies to athletes, scientists, entrepreneurs, and students. Consistent focus transforms ordinary practice into remarkable expertise. Mental clarity also improves decision-making. When the mind is calm and focused, it can evaluate options carefully without being overwhelmed by emotion or confusion. Imagine a pilot navigating an aircraft during unexpected weather conditions. The pilot must analyze information from instruments, communicate with air traffic control, and make rapid decisions that ensure safety. If the pilot becomes mentally scattered, the situation may become dangerous. However, a clear, focused mind allows calm evaluation of data and confident execution of procedures. This example demonstrates how focus supports performance even in critical situations. Another inspiring story involves a young painter who struggled to complete artwork due to constant distraction. The painter loved creativity but often abandoned projects halfway because new ideas appeared before previous ones were finished. After recognizing this pattern, a painter decided to dedicate focused periods to a single painting until completion. During these sessions, the mind remained fully engaged with color composition and emotion within the artwork. As a result, paintings became more detailed, expressive, and complete. Galleries began noticing the improvement, and opportunities for exhibitions increased. This transformation occurred because focus allowed talent to flourish without interruption. Focus also requires the courage to say no to certain opportunities. While new experiences can be exciting, attempting too many commitments simultaneously weakens concentration. A university athlete balancing sports, academics, and social activities once felt overwhelmed. Performance in both studies and training began declining. After discussing the situation with a mentor, the athlete decided to reduce certain non-essential commitments. By concentrating on academic work and athletic development, the athlete regained balance and achieved strong results in both areas. Learning to protect attention is essential for maintaining mental clarity. Training the mind for focus is similar to strengthening a muscle. Each time attention is directed deliberately toward a task, the ability to concentrate improves. At first, distractions may appear frequently, but with practice, the mind learns to return to the chosen objective. Over time, focused thinking becomes more natural and productive. A clear, focused mind experiences a sense of purpose and direction. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by endless possibilities, the person understands which steps lead toward meaningful goals. As you continue training your mind, remember that focus is not about doing more tasks, but about doing the right tasks with full attention. Mental clarity allows your energy to move directly toward achievement, without being scattered by unnecessary distractions. Chapter 8. Building Confidence. Confidence is one of the most powerful qualities a person can develop while training the mind to win in every situation. It is the quiet belief that you are capable of facing challenges, learning new skills, and moving forward even when circumstances feel uncertain. Confidence does not mean believing that everything will always be easy. Instead, it means trusting that you can handle difficulties and grow stronger through experience. Many people believe that confidence is something a person is simply born with. They assume that some individuals naturally possess courage and self-belief, while others must struggle with doubt forever. In reality, confidence is not a fixed trait. It is a skill that can be developed through practice, effort, and positive thinking. Confidence grows when a person repeatedly proves to the mind that progress is possible. Each small victory adds another layer of belief. Over time, these experiences create a strong foundation that allows the mind to face larger challenges without hesitation. Imagine a young student who feels nervous about answering questions in class. The fear of making mistakes causes silence, even when the student knows the correct answer. The mind whispers that speaking up might lead to embarrassment. One day, the student decides to take a small step toward change. When the teacher asks a simple question, the student raises a hand and shares an answer. The response is correct, and the teacher smiles with encouragement. That moment becomes the first small victory. The next time the student participates again, confidence begins growing because the mind remembers the earlier success. Eventually, speaking in class becomes natural rather than frightening. What once felt impossible now feels comfortable because confidence developed gradually through action. Preparation is another powerful source of confidence. When people dedicate time to learning, practicing, and improving skills, they naturally feel more capable. Preparation removes much of the uncertainty that often causes fear. Consider the example of a young lawyer preparing for an important court presentation. At the beginning, the responsibility feels overwhelming. The thought of standing before experienced professionals creates anxiety. Instead of focusing on fear, the lawyer chooses preparation. Legal documents are studied carefully, arguments are practiced repeatedly, and possible questions are anticipated. Each hour of preparation strengthens knowledge and clarity. When the day of the presentation arrives, the lawyer still feels some nervous energy, but confidence now exists because preparation has built trust in personal ability. The presentation proceeds successfully because the mind knows it is ready. Confidence also grows when individuals accept imperfections and continue moving forward despite them. Many people wait for the moment when they feel completely ready before taking action. Unfortunately, this moment rarely arrives because perfection is an unrealistic expectation. A young entrepreneur once delayed launching a business idea for several years because the plan never felt perfect. Every detail seemed to require more improvement before beginning. During this time, other people introduced similar ideas and gained experience. Eventually, the entrepreneur realized that waiting for perfection was preventing progress. The decision was made to launch the business with the best preparation available at that time. Some mistakes occurred during the early months, but valuable lessons were learned quickly. Through adaptation and persistence, the business improved steadily. Confidence increased because the entrepreneur discovered that action and learning were far more valuable than endless hesitation. Another important element of confidence is self-respect. When people treat themselves with kindness and understanding, they create a healthy mental environment. Harsh self-criticism can damage confidence because the mind becomes afraid of making mistakes. Imagine a young athlete practicing a difficult sport. During training, mistakes are inevitable. If the athlete reacts to every error with frustration and negative self-talk, confidence will slowly decline. However, if the athlete treats mistakes as normal steps in improvement, the experience becomes positive. Encouraging words, such as "keep trying" or "progress," takes time, help maintain motivation. This supportive inner dialogue strengthens confidence and resilience. Role models can also inspire the development of confidence. Observing individuals who overcame challenges demonstrates that success is achievable. Their stories remind us that many confident people once struggled with doubt, just like everyone else. A young musician once admired a famous performer who appeared completely comfortable on stage. During an interview, the performer explained that early performances had been filled with nervousness and uncertainty. Through years of practice and experience, confidence gradually replaced fear. Hearing this story encouraged the young musician to continue practicing and performing despite initial discomfort. The knowledge that confidence can grow through experience made the journey feel more achievable. Confidence is also influenced by physical habits. Maintaining good posture, making eye contact, and speaking clearly sends signals to the mind that strength and assurance are present. The body and mind communicate constantly, so positive physical habits reinforce positive mental beliefs. Imagine a student preparing for a scholarship interview. Entering the room with upright posture, calm breathing, and a friendly smile creates a strong first impression. These physical actions also influence the student's own mindset by encouraging feelings of capability. Even simple actions such as standing tall and breathing deeply can help transform nervous energy into confidence. Another inspiring example of growing confidence can be seen in the journey of a young pilot learning to fly an aircraft. During the first training sessions, the controls appear complicated and the responsibility feels enormous. Under the guidance of an experienced instructor, the student pilot practices basic maneuvers repeatedly. Each successful flight builds trust in both the aircraft and personal ability. Eventually, the instructor announces that the student is ready for a solo flight. The moment before takeoff may feel intense, but confidence developed through practice makes the experience possible. When the plane lifts into the sky, under the student command, the mind realizes that dedication and courage have transformed uncertainty into capability. Confidence also expands when people surround themselves with supportive individuals. Encouragement from friends, mentors, teachers, and colleagues creates an environment where growth feels safe and achievable. A young writer once joined a community of creative individuals who shared their work regularly. Members of the group offered constructive feedback and celebrated each other's progress. This supportive environment encouraged the writer to keep improving and sharing new stories. Over time, the writer's confidence grew because the community reinforced belief in the value of creativity. It is important to remember that confidence does not mean never experiencing fear. Even highly accomplished individuals sometimes feel nervous before important events. The difference is that confident people choose action despite these feelings. Confidence grows when people consistently face challenges rather than avoiding them. Each challenge becomes another opportunity to prove to the mind that strength and capability exist within. Another powerful strategy for building confidence is setting realistic goals. Large dreams can sometimes feel overwhelming if they appear too distant. Breaking these dreams into smaller steps makes progress visible and encouraging. A young scientist studying complex research topics may initially feel intimidated by the amount of knowledge required. By focusing on one concept at a time and celebrating each completed milestone, confidence gradually increases. Eventually, the accumulation of small achievements creates expertise that once seemed impossible. Gratitude also contributes to confidence because it shifts attention towards strengths and achievements instead of limitations. Recognizing progress reminds the mind that growth is already happening. A professional photographer once reviewed early work and compared it with recent projects. The improvement in skill, creativity, and technical understanding was remarkable. This reflection strengthened confidence because it demonstrated how dedication had produced visible results. Confidence is therefore not created through sudden transformation. It is built gradually through preparation, effort, learning, and perseverance. Every experience that demonstrates capability adds another brick to the foundation of belief. Over time, this foundation becomes strong enough to support ambitious goals and courageous decisions. When the mind trusts its own ability, challenges become opportunities rather than threats. Difficult situations no longer feel overwhelming because confidence provides stability and direction. As you continue training your mind, remember that confidence is always within reach. Each positive step, each moment of effort, and each lesson learned from experience contributes to stronger self-belief. Chapter 9. Persistence and Consistency. Success in any area of life is rarely the result of a single moment of effort. It is usually the result of persistence and consistency practiced over long periods of time. These two qualities transform small daily actions into powerful achievements. When a person learns to remain persistent and consistent, the mind becomes capable of overcoming obstacles that once seemed impossible. Persistence means continuing to move forward even when progress feels slow or when difficulties appear. Consistency means repeating the right actions regularly until they become part of everyday life. Together, these qualities create a powerful force that pushes a person closer to goals step by step. Many people begin their journey toward success with enthusiasm and excitement. The beginning of a new goal often feels inspiring. A student beginning a new course, a person starting a fitness routine, or an entrepreneur launching a new idea may feel full of energy. However, after some time, challenges appear. Results may not arrive quickly, and motivation may begin to fade. At this moment, persistence becomes essential. The individuals who continue moving forward despite these challenges are the ones who eventually achieve meaningful success. Imagine a young farmer planting seeds in a field. After the seeds are planted, nothing visible happens for several days. If the farmer expected immediate results, the empty soil might create doubt. Yet the farmer understands that growth takes time. The farmer continues watering the soil, caring for the land, and protecting the seeds. Slowly, small plants begin to appear. Weeks later, the field becomes full of healthy crops. This simple example shows how persistence and patience create results that cannot appear instantly. Another powerful example can be seen in the journey of a young athlete learning a demanding sport such as tennis. During the first weeks of practice, the athlete struggles with coordination, timing, and strength. Many shots miss the target and frustration appears. If the athlete stops practicing because improvement seems slow, progress will never happen. Instead, the athlete continues practicing daily. Each session adds small improvements to technique and endurance. Months later, the athlete moves across the court with confidence and accuracy. What once felt impossible becomes natural because persistence allowed skill to develop gradually. Consistency is equally important because irregular effort rarely produces strong results. Imagine a student preparing for an important examination, but studying only once every few weeks. The knowledge gained during those sessions may fade before the next study period begins. Now imagine another student who studies for a short period every day. Even if each session is brief, the continuous repetition strengthens understanding and memory. By the time the examination arrives, the consistent student feels far more prepared. Consistency works like the steady flow of water, shaping a stone over time. Each small effort may appear insignificant, but together they create powerful transformation. Consider the story of a young writer who dreamed of publishing meaningful stories. In the beginning, writing felt difficult and inspiration did not appear every day. Some days the words flowed easily, while other days felt slow and frustrating. Instead of waiting for perfect inspiration, the writer created a simple rule. Every day a certain amount of writing would be completed regardless of mood. Some days produced brilliant ideas, while other days produced only simple paragraphs. Over time, these daily efforts accumulated into chapters, and eventually into a complete book. The writer's success did not come from occasional bursts of creativity, but from consistent dedication to the craft. Persistence also builds resilience, because it teaches the mind to remain strong during challenges. Life rarely follows a perfectly smooth path. Unexpected obstacles, financial problems, personal struggles, or external criticism may appear at any time. A small business owner once faced a difficult period when sales decreased unexpectedly. This situation created stress and uncertainty. Some people advised closing the business and choosing a different career. Instead of giving up, the owner examined the situation carefully and looked for solutions. New marketing strategies were introduced and customer feedback was studied closely. Gradually, the business adapted and began growing again. The ability to remain persistent during difficult times allowed the business to survive and eventually thrive. Consistency also strengthens habits. When actions are repeated regularly, they become automatic parts of daily life. Positive habits, such as exercising, reading, learning, and practicing skills, create long-term benefits. Imagine a young musician practicing a musical instrument for 30 minutes every day. At first, the practice requires discipline because distractions appear easily. After several weeks, the routine becomes natural and enjoyable. Years later, the musician possesses extraordinary skill because consistent practice has strengthened coordination and musical understanding. This principle can be observed in many successful individuals across different fields. Scientists who conduct experiments daily, athletes who train consistently, artists who create regularly, and entrepreneurs who refine their ideas continuously all rely on persistence and consistency. Another inspiring example involves a mountain climber preparing to reach a high peak. The journey toward the summit requires many months of training, physical conditioning, and planning. Each day, the climber practices endurance exercises, studies climbing techniques, and strengthens mental resilience. Some days feel exhausting, yet the climber continues preparing with determination. When the day of the climb finally arrives, the preparation pays off. The climber moves steadily upward, step by step, until the summit is reached. The victory represents not only physical strength, but also months of consistent effort. Persistence also encourages creativity, because continuous effort allows new ideas to appear. When people stop working at the first sign of difficulty, they never give their minds enough time to discover solutions. A young scientist researching a complex medical problem may experience many unsuccessful experiments. Instead of abandoning the research, the scientist continues exploring different approaches. Eventually, a breakthrough occurs that contributes valuable knowledge to the scientific community. This discovery is often the result of many persistent attempts rather than a single sudden insight. Another important aspect of persistence is maintaining faith in long-term goals. When progress appears slow, it is easy to question whether the effort is worthwhile. During these moments, remembering the original purpose behind the goal can restore motivation. A young teacher working to improve the education of students in a small community may face challenges, such as limited resources or large class sizes. Despite these difficulties, the teacher continues, preparing lessons with dedication, because the mission of helping students succeed remains meaningful. Over time, the positive influence of this persistence shapes the lives of many young learners. Consistency also creates momentum. When actions are repeated daily, the mind becomes accustomed to progress. Stopping becomes more difficult than continuing because the routine feels natural. For example, a person who begins exercising regularly may initially struggle with motivation. After several weeks of consistent workouts, the body feels stronger and the habit becomes enjoyable. Missing a workout then feels unusual because the routine has become part of daily life. Momentum created through consistency supports long-term success. Another inspiring story involves a young painter who wanted to develop a unique artistic style. Instead of waiting for inspiration, the painter committed to creating one piece of artwork every day. Some pieces were simple, while others became detailed masterpieces. Over time, this daily practice improved technique, creativity, and confidence. Galleries eventually recognized the artist's dedication and began displaying the work. This recognition emerged from persistent practice rather than sudden talent. Persistence also teaches patience, which is an important quality for personal growth. Many meaningful achievements require time to develop. Skills, relationships, knowledge, and personal character all grow gradually. A gardener planting a fruit tree understands that the tree will not produce fruit immediately. Years of care, watering, and protection are necessary before the tree reaches full maturity. Similarly, the goals we pursue in life require patience and consistent effort before results become visible. Training the mind to remain persistent requires a positive attitude toward challenges. Instead of viewing obstacles as signs of failure, the mind learns to interpret them as opportunities to grow stronger. When difficulties appear, the question becomes what can be learned from this situation, rather than why is this happening. Support from mentors, friends, and family can also strengthen persistence. Encouraging words and shared experiences remind individuals that they are not alone during difficult moments. A young athlete preparing for a championship once felt discouraged after several disappointing performances. The coach reminded the athlete that every champion experiences setbacks during training. With renewed determination, the athlete continued practicing and eventually achieved remarkable improvement during the final competition. Persistence and consistency, therefore, create a powerful partnership. Persistence ensures that effort continues despite obstacles, while consistency ensures that effort happens regularly. Together, they transform dreams into real accomplishments. Every small action repeated over time builds a bridge between where you are now and where you wish to be. The journey may require patience, dedication, and resilience, but the rewards become extraordinary. As you continue training your mind, remember that success rarely appears overnight. It grows through daily effort, steady determination, and unwavering belief in progress. Chapter 10. Gratitude and Mental Strength. One of the most powerful, yet often overlooked qualities of a strong mind is gratitude. Gratitude is the ability to recognize and appreciate the good that exists in life, even during difficult moments. It allows the mind to remain balanced, hopeful, and motivated, instead of becoming overwhelmed by challenges. Many people believe that happiness and satisfaction will arrive only after achieving success, wealth, or recognition. They imagine that gratitude is something that appears only when life becomes perfect. In reality, gratitude is not the result of success. It is one of the foundations that helps create success. When the mind learns to appreciate progress, opportunities, relationships, and lessons, it develops a deeper sense of strength and resilience. Gratitude shifts attention away from what is missing and toward what is already valuable. This shift creates a powerful mental environment where confidence, optimism, and motivation can grow. Imagine a young student who dreams of becoming a scientist. The journey involves many years of study, research, and experimentation. During this process, there may be moments of frustration when results do not appear immediately. If the student focuses only on difficulties, motivation may begin to fade. However, if the student practices gratitude by appreciating the opportunity to learn, explore ideas, and work with inspiring teachers, the experience becomes meaningful and rewarding. Gratitude turns effort into a positive journey rather than a burden. Gratitude also strengthens relationships with others. People who express appreciation for support, kindness, and cooperation create stronger connections with friends, colleagues, and family members. These relationships become sources of encouragement during challenging times. Consider a young entrepreneur building a small company. The early stages require teamwork, dedication, and shared effort from employees, partners, and mentors. When the entrepreneur openly appreciates the contributions of each team member, a culture of respect and motivation develops. Employees feel valued and become more committed to the success of the company. Gratitude, therefore, becomes a powerful leadership quality that inspires collective progress. Another important benefit of gratitude is its ability to reduce stress and negativity. The human mind naturally remembers problems more easily than positive experiences. This tendency can create a habit of constant worry or dissatisfaction. Practicing gratitude interrupts this pattern by reminding the mind that positive moments exist even during difficult situations. A person who regularly reflects on achievements, friendships, health, and opportunities builds emotional resilience. For example, a young nurse working long hours in a busy hospital may experience physical and emotional exhaustion. Instead of focusing only on fatigue, the nurse may choose to appreciate the ability to help patients recover and comfort families during difficult moments. This sense of purpose transforms daily work into a meaningful mission. Gratitude provides emotional strength that allows the nurse to continue serving others with compassion. Mental strength grows when gratitude becomes part of daily thinking. A strong mind does not ignore problems, but it refuses to become controlled by negativity. Gratitude provides balance by reminding the mind that challenges often exist alongside opportunities. Imagine a farmer facing an unexpected season of heavy rain that damages some crops. The situation creates financial pressure and disappointment. However, the farmer still appreciates the fertile land, the support of family, and the chance to prepare for the next planting season. This attitude of gratitude does not remove the difficulty, but it prevents despair from dominating the mind. The farmer continues working with determination because hope remains alive. Gratitude also encourages humility. When people recognize the support and opportunities that contributed to their progress, they remain open to learning and cooperation. Humility allows continuous growth because the mind remains curious and respectful. A young athlete who wins an important competition may feel proud of personal effort, yet also grateful for coaches, teammates, and family members who provided encouragement during training. This balanced perspective prevents arrogance and maintains motivation for further improvement. Another inspiring example of gratitude can be seen in the life of a teacher who works with students from challenging backgrounds. Some students may struggle with confidence or access to resources. Instead of focusing on limitations, the teacher appreciates every small improvement each student achieves. A correct answer in class, a thoughtful question, or an act of kindness between classmates becomes a reason for gratitude. This positive mindset creates a supportive learning environment where students feel valued and inspired to continue improving. Gratitude can also transform personal challenges into valuable lessons. When people experience setbacks, they often focus only on the negative aspects of the situation. A grateful mindset encourages reflection on what the experience can teach. For example, a young architect may face rejection after submitting designs for an important project. The disappointment feels heavy at first. However, gratitude for the opportunity to participate and receive feedback encourages growth. By studying the feedback carefully, the architect learns new techniques and improves future designs. Eventually, these lessons contribute to success in other projects. The practice of gratitude can be simple yet powerful. Many people begin by taking a few moments each day to reflect on positive experiences. These reflections may include achievements, supportive relationships, or moments of beauty and inspiration. A young writer once began keeping a daily journal of gratitude. Each evening, 3 positive moments from the day were written down. Some days included major achievements, while other days contained simple experiences such as a meaningful conversation or a peaceful walk. Over time, this habit transformed the writer's perspective on life. The mind became more aware of positive experiences that might otherwise have been overlooked. Gratitude also encourages generosity. When people appreciate what they have, they naturally feel inspired to share kindness and support with others. Acts of generosity strengthen communities and create positive cycles of encouragement. A successful business leader once remembered the mentors who provided guidance during the early stages of a career. Later, when the company grew, the leader created internship programs to support young professionals entering the industry. This act of gratitude allowed new generations to benefit from opportunities that once shaped the leader's own journey. Mental strength combined with gratitude creates remarkable resilience. When challenges appear, the mind remains steady because it recognizes both difficulties and blessings. A mountain climber facing harsh weather during an expedition may feel physically exhausted, yet still appreciate the beauty of the surrounding landscape and the privilege of pursuing a meaningful goal. This gratitude fuels determination to continue the climb. Gratitude also improves personal well-being. Studies and life experiences show that individuals who regularly express appreciation often experience greater emotional balance and optimism. A young professional working in a demanding career may begin each day by reflecting on the opportunity to develop skills, contribute to meaningful projects, and collaborate with talented colleagues. This mindset creates enthusiasm that improves both productivity and happiness. Another powerful example involves a community volunteer who dedicates time to helping children learn new skills. Instead of viewing volunteering as a sacrifice, the volunteer feels grateful for the chance to make a positive difference in young lives. This gratitude transforms service into a joyful experience that strengthens both the volunteer and the community. It is important to understand that gratitude does not require ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. Difficult moments are part of every life journey. Gratitude simply reminds the mind that hope, possibility, and goodness exist alongside these challenges. This balanced perspective creates emotional strength that allows people to continue moving forward. A person who practices gratitude regularly begins noticing opportunities more easily. Positive relationships become stronger, new ideas appear more clearly, and motivation grows naturally. When the mind feels grateful, it becomes more open to learning, collaboration, and creative thinking. This openness creates a powerful environment for personal and professional success. Gratitude also helps maintain perspective during moments of achievement. Success can sometimes lead to pressure or fear of losing what has been gained. A grateful mind appreciates the journey rather than becoming trapped by expectations. For example, A successful musician may feel grateful for the ability to share music with audiences rather than focusing only on competition or comparison with others. This appreciation preserves joy and passion for the art. The combination of gratitude and mental strength allows individuals to face life with courage, balance, and optimism. Challenges become opportunities for growth, while successes become reasons for appreciation. As you continue training your mind, remember that gratitude is not only a feeling, but also a habit. By choosing to appreciate the positive aspects of life, you strengthen resilience and maintain clarity during both success and difficulty. Conclusion: mastering the mind for victory. Training the mind to win in every situation is not a journey that occurs overnight. It is a continuous process of growth, learning, and self-mastery. Throughout this journey, you have explored essential qualities including discipline, mental toughness, courage, focus, confidence, persistence, and gratitude. Each of these elements strengthens the mind in a unique way, yet they all work together to create a resilient, adaptable, and unstoppable mental framework. Life will inevitably present challenges, obstacles, and uncertainties. There will be moments when fear, doubt, or frustration feels overwhelming. Yet the mind that has been trained through deliberate practice, self-reflection, and consistent effort responds differently. It views challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and uncertainty as a chance to grow stronger. When you combine mental clarity with focus, persistence with patience, and confidence with gratitude, you create a foundation that cannot be easily shaken. Every story, example, and lesson in this book demonstrates that victory is not a matter of luck or innate talent. It is the result of consistent action, careful preparation, and the unwavering belief in one's ability to learn and adapt. The student who studies daily, the athlete who trains tirelessly, the entrepreneur who overcomes rejection, and the artist who practices every day all embody the truth that mental mastery transforms effort into achievement. The mind is like a muscle. The more it is trained, the stronger and more capable it becomes. Fear, failure, and obstacles are not enemies. They are essential tools that shape resilience and sharpen focus. Gratitude anchors perspective, confidence empowers action, and persistence ensures that no effort is wasted. Together, these qualities allow anyone to navigate life with determination, courage, and wisdom. The key takeaway is that winning in every situation is less about controlling external circumstances and more about mastering internal responses. You may not control the world around you, but you can control your thoughts, your decisions, and your attitude. By cultivating the habits and mindsets described in this book, you equip yourself with an inner strength that is impervious to temporary setbacks. As you move forward, remember that mental training is lifelong. Each day presents new opportunities to apply discipline, face fears, embrace failure, sharpen focus, and express gratitude. By consistently practicing these principles, you will notice incremental growth that compounds over time, transforming ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. Victory is not a final destination. It is the ongoing result of a mind trained to persist, adapt, and thrive in every circumstance. With dedication, clarity, and resilience, you have the power to turn challenges into triumphs and potential into reality. Your mind is your most powerful ally, and by nurturing it deliberately, you can achieve not only success, but fulfillment, purpose, and lasting mastery in every area of life. The journey does not end here. Each day is an opportunity to strengthen your mind further, to rise above limitations, and to embrace the full potential within yourself. By continuing to apply these principles, you transform every situation into a chance to grow, to win, and to create a life defined by resilience, courage, and excellence. Victory begins in the mind, and the mind you train today will determine the results you achieve tomorrow. The end.
kindly subscribe to my channel.